News 5 remembers Hurricane Ivan 10 years later. The Category 3 hurricane came ashore in the early morning hours. The storm boasted 120-mile-per-hour winds and a storm surge 14 feet high. It devastated not only coastal communities but other areas farther inland. It took years to fully recover from the biggest hurricane to hit our part of the Gulf Coast since Hurricane Frederick. News 5's Debbie Williams is live in Gulf Shores. And Debbie, you covered Ivan 10 years ago. What are some of your memories?
Well, anytime you have an event like this, there's certain things that just pop in your mind. For me, it is the water all the way from the Gulf of Mexico, about a mile inland up to the Gulf Coast Zoo, and a deer swimming across Highway 59. Also, the buildings on the beachfront just pancaked on top of themselves, and then the constant dinging and beeping of the fire alarms in almost every building that just went on for days, maybe even weeks after that storm. For anybody you talk to who lived through Hurricane Ivan, they all have their own memories.
It doesn't seem like 10 years. It seems like it was just yesterday, really.
If you didn't know it happened,
10 years has gone by fast.
you may not see the signs, but they're there. Foundations where buildings once stood, a random cluster of palm trees that used to adorn a driveway. For Assistant Fire Chief Keith Martin, Hurricane Ivan was a first.
That was my first experience with a hurricane at all. I'd been in tornadoes in central Alabama and had seen destruction, but never really had a grasp of what a hurricane would be like.
The old fire station number 1 in Gulf Shores is long gone, and when you hear of Hurricane Ivan, you certainly understand why.
The images that pop in my mind is the things that happened around the fire station, the roof bulging and the wind raising the roof and us hearing the beams popping and cracking, the door blowing in.
Images of the aftermath are plastered on Owen Gray's restaurant. It's in a different location now.
Just destruction, a lot of destruction, and people's lives being turned upside down, and never wanting to go through that kind of a feeling again.
And then there are the stories that didn't make headlines. Fire Chief Hartley Brokenshaw remembers a lucky break that could have made things so much worse for the recovery of the coastal communities.
The barges that broke loose on the canal and came through, and we were that far away from the bridge not being there.
A storm for the record books, a storm most survived, and a storm few will ever forget. Before Hurricane Ivan, everything was compared to Hurricane Frederick. Now, because of Ivan and the destruction, everything is compared to Hurricane Ivan. Live on the Baldwin County Beat in Gulf Shores, Debbie Williams, News 5.